Hi. So, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be focusing on a form of affect management or containment strategy that is affectionately called the container. What this strategy is designed to do is it's designed to allow you to utilize an imaginary visualization technique to take some distress that you're feeling about a memory, a thought, a situation, a feeling inside of your body, or whatever it might be, and actually take that stuff and put it away into an imaginary container for safekeeping. And it's not about eliminating the distress or eliminating it from your memory bank. What it really is actually doing is it's allowing you to honor the importance of that particular memory or thought or sensation, and to put it away for you to deal with it at a later point in time where it feels like you can manage it. It's a safe place to do so. So one important thing to let you know about is that not all people like this particular exercise or that actually get it. In the sense that, some people aren't visual people. Some people are more tactile, right? Feeling. Some people are more auditory, and then there's those who are visual people. So if you happen to be visual like myself, this kind of a strategy can be really helpful for you. So the important thing to know is that you will find something that is going to work for you when you do, add that to your tool belt, so to speak. So here's the container. The container is an imaginary place or actual container of some sort that you are going to use to put those distressing memories, thoughts, feelings, and whatnot away. So here are some conditions for that. One is you cannot use a container that you actually see on a daily basis. I can't use, let's say, a filing cabinet that I use in my office as the form or the container that I'm going to use to put away my distress, because every time I'm in my office, I'm going to be thinking about the thing that I just put away there. So it's got to be something that is not seen daily. It also doesn't have to be a real, actual thing or place. It could be something you make up. And I'll tell you what mine is in a minute to help you kind of jog your memory maybe, or your imagination. The other condition is that whatever this container is, it needs to be big enough that you can put whatever you need to put in there. The other conditions are that it needs to be strong enough that whatever you put in there, it needs to stay in there. Okay, it's got to be sealable as well. So it's got to have a lid on it, or it's got to have a lock on it, or it's got to have a secret path to find it that only you know about, and it's got to have some way, shape, or form that it can be totally sealed up tight. It's got to be big enough, it's got to be strong enough, it's got to be sealable, and it's got to be something that you're not going to see on a daily basis. So for some people might decide to use some kind of a treasure chest, or a vault, or a I'll give you mine. I envision my container as a big giant Pacman. If you remember what Pacmans are, a big giant Pacman on the moon, and the Pacman's made of like stone or concrete. And when I need to put a distressing thought or something, I send it from my mind or my body all the way up out of Earth and onto the moon, where this big giant Pac-Man opens up and closes on it, and then I feel like that's gone. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is right now take a minute or two and actually close your eyes and think about what kind of container seems to make sense for you. Go ahead. Okay, great. So now that you have your container, what we're going to do is we're going to play around with it a little bit. So I'm going to ask you in a second to close your eyes and to do a little visualization exercise. So you might notice, I'm going to ask you to think about the container, and so you might notice yourself in the scene, and you might actually then notice the container. If you do, that's great. So use that. Or if in your mind's eye you see the container itself and that's it. So whichever way it goes for you, that's fine. Go with that. So I want you right now to just close your eyes, and I want you to imagine this container in your mind's eye. Bring it up. Notice what color is it, what shape is it. Notice the fabric or the fibers or the material or whatever it is. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And if you're in the scene, I want you to go up to your container, and I want you to walk around the container. And if you're just seeing the container in your mind's eye, I want you to spin it in your mind's eye around, so that you can see every single nook and cranny of this container. I want you to make sure that as you're spinning it or you're walking around it, I want you to make sure that it is tight. There is no crack, there are no holes in it, there's no rust, there's no signs of weathering. This thing is solid, solid, solid. And I'd like for you to notice where, if there's a lid on it, open the lid. I want you to, or if there's a door, open the door. I want you to sort of know exactly where those distressing thoughts and feelings and everything are going to go in. And again, I remind you that this isn't about eliminating that stuff. It's about actually honoring the importance of those matters so that we can deal with it later. Okay, so when you get a really good sense of where inside that distress is going to go in, we're going to try it out. Okay, so this is where the fun stuff goes. I want you to, right now, think back on something that's a little bit distressing. I have a scale in EMDR. In the EMDR world, we use a scale that goes from 0 to 10. So 0 is zero distress, completely neutral feeling, to 10, which is the highest amount of distress that you can imagine. And I want you to think of a memory, something that's happened to you recently that's kind of like around a 3 or a 4, something like that there. And if you can then sit back with that and notice how you feel in your body when you think of that distressing 3 or 4 event or memory, and just notice what that feels like in your body. Good. Then now, I'd like for you to imagine in your mind's eye this container of yours. And again, if you're in the scene, great, or if you're just seeing the container, that's fine too. And I want you to now close your eyes and notice. Allow that tension to flow from your body out into this container naturally. Let it just flow out there. Notice as it leaves your body from head to toe, wherever that distress was, it just flows into this container. And when you feel like this is all inside of your container, I want you to close the lid or close the door or whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's closing the mouth on the container. And I want you to make sure that when you know it's in there, I want you to lock it up or seal it or whatever you're going to do to it. And walk around it again or spin it in your mind's eye just to make sure that it's all in there. And as you notice that it's all in there, check in with your body. How do you feel? Hopefully better. Okay, where's your distress at right now? Great. Good. So what you've just done is you've created a container, an imaginary container in your mind's eye, for a place where you can put distressing thoughts or feelings or memories or situations or whatever into this container as a method of lowering your affect. So you can try this at any time when you notice that you feel some distress about something and it's not the appropriate time to deal with it. Allow yourself to use your container. Imagine in your mind's eye. Let this distress flow into that container and just go with that. And remember, this is about honoring that distress. There might be some complications for some of you, and if it so happens that you find it difficult to go into that container, I want you to ask yourself this question. What's keeping my distress from flowing naturally into this container? And whatever it might be, I want you to try your best to give yourself whatever it is that you think you need. For me, it might be, let's say I'm having a thought and I just can't put it away in a Pacman, and I feel like I need to obsessively think about it. And I'm going to tell myself, very gently, do I really need to constantly think about it right now? Is this really a thing that I need to do? Or can it be okay for the time being to put it away into my Pacman so that I can deal with it more appropriately later when I can devote all of my energy to it? Or I might feel like it's sort of stuck in my body. And so then I might imagine something else to help me with my container. So if it feels like it's stuck in there, I might imagine like a vacuum cleaner or something sort of sucking this distress out of my body and then allowing it to go up into my Pacman container. Whatever it is, it needs to work for you. And the point is that, this is your container. You get to be as creative with it as you'd like. And I want to encourage you to play around with it so that it really feels good for you. Okay, so that's your container, and enjoy it. Have some fun with it.